Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Wow, this particular session is so important to tie in everything that we shared. And guess what? We're doing exactly what this chapter is talking about right now, actually. And we're going to dive in and share a bit more. So, it's always a pleasure to just show up and share this amazing content with you. And the reason why we do it, we love doing it. We love helping people. And you're going to get something really special in today's session. And I'll try not to do the applause too much because I notice I get a little trigger happy and really get into it. So, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant. I'm based in the Maryland area. And, I'm also trained by the late, great legend Bob Proctor. So what we're sharing today, am I frozen? Oh, no, I'm not. I just looked frozen for a second there. My purpose is to reveal the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires. And I work with individuals, entrepreneurs, businesses, business owners, you name it, help you achieve higher milestones. And it's all about believing in the unseen, believing that goal is for you and believing in yourself. And I help guide you to that destination for you. And I love this material so much. And I love my colleagues as well. They're amazing. And we get to express this material for you. So I'm in the Maryland area, and I'll pass it on to my awesome colleague, Paul.
Oh, thank you, Jamel. Yep, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is from wherever you are watching. My name is Paul Wooters, and I'm in the Burlington, Ontario area. And I'm also a success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant. I'm a director of the Leadership and Development Department at the World Life Education Center here in Oakville.
Whoops.
See, I told you, it's trigger happy. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry. We're live, folks. Sorry, Paul.
It's quite all right. And so what I do is, like, most people live from the outside in, and that means they are allowing what they see, what they hear, what they experience to dictate what they think and how they feel. And I help people live from the inside out. And so that's when real transformation happens. Because when we let our thoughts, our beliefs, and our vision shape our outer world and guide us, that's when real transformation occurs. So I help people unlock their potential to live to their greatest possibilities and help individuals, athletes, young people, entrepreneurs, business people. And, this material that we're talking about here, these principles are, we're not just doing, a book review here. We're giving you principles that we were taught and that transform your lives, that change our lives, and they can change your life too, so that you can create the life and design the life that you truly want. It doesn't just happen by accident. It happens with intention and by design. Lou.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here live or catching the replay. My name is Lou Perica, and I am a success mindset mentor. And what I do is I guide women into the truth of who they are. They are powerful, they are capable, and they are designed for more. And my work is about helping them untie those mindset knots that hold them back so they can rise up and live, lead, and create from their highest identity. And I'm very excited today about this particular chapter because most people are busy. And I try to be very mindful not to use that word. And there's a lot of hustling, there's a lot of multitasking going on, but there's not a lot of advancement. And what we're talking about today, what we're sharing with what Wallace Wattles is talking about, is efficient action is the opposite. It's not about doing more, but it's about doing what matters and with clarity and with intention. So I'm looking forward to diving into this with my colleagues and really helping people open their mind to understand that just because we're doing more doesn't mean it's effective. So we want to help you do less, but more efficiently, the action steps that you do take. Jamel?
Awesome. I am so excited to share this because we anybody can use this. Everybody could use this. And again, apologize there, Paul. I didn't know if you hit spacebar, it's a shortcut for sound effects. So I accidentally hit spacebar. So, it was good to raise the vibration, and vibration is everything. So for those that, got a little chuckle out of that at home, that's a great thing. So, we're talking about The Science of Getting Rich, an extremely popular book, and we're going chapter after chapter after chapter. And we're really diving deep about this to make sure there's no stone unturned. And this way you can apply it and understand it. Well, application, you're on your own for that. But guess what? You're actually not on your own, because guess what? We're here to help you with it. And feel free to, reach out to us, engage to us. And also, we have our call links in the comments in the description. You can message us whatever platform you're on. If something that you really didn't understand, or you're really tired of being where you are and you really want to grow and you want to achieve some more, we always love to meet new people. We love to apply this material every day in our lives and others' lives as well. So you're not on your own, but when you don't take an efficient action or an efficient step with action, you're kind of on your own, but you don't have to be, right? And that's why we're all here. So, wow, this chapter.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this chapter. It ties in perfectly from our previous session, acting in a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about efficient action. Efficient action. Okay? So, a lot of you, when you think about action, this is so good. He starts right at the beginning. You can advance only by being larger than your present place. And no man is larger than his present, or woman is present, larger than their present place, who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. So important to understand. So how do you become larger than your present place? Well, it first starts with an understanding by watching Coach's Corner, because you're getting understanding, right? So you're becoming larger than who you were in that present state. Really think about that. And it says no person is larger than their present place, who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. So it's kind of tough for me to even read that, because I'm a doer, right? I take action, but that doesn't mean it's efficient action. And we're going to clarify that, today on this session, what efficient action is, and dive into some of the other things that were shared here. I'll pass it along. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that really jumps out at me every time I read that chapter. You can only advance by being bigger than your present place. What does that mean? Right? But I think it's one of the most important principles, really, in the science of getting rich, because it connects directly to identity, self-image, and purpose. Like your present environment, your job, your income, your circle, your opportunities, it's a reflection of who you've been, right? Who you have been. And so to move into something greater, you must become bigger internally first, from the inside. We talked about it. We talk about it all the time, like working from the inside out rather from the outside in. So you have to internally become bigger than the conditions that you are currently occupying. What does that mean? Well, your thinking has to exceed your circumstances, right? Your vision has to exceed your environment. Your self-image must exceed your present results. So we talk about self-image a lot. I talk about self-image a lot with my clients, because you will never outperform your self-image. You can't, wish for one thing and be, or behave or act like another. You have to be that person that you want to become. You have to step into that role, because growth comes before advancement. So inner growth. So that new level comes only after you have expanded enough to match that. So you can't get more until you become more, and that your results will always match your level of consciousness. So if you desire more income, more opportunities, more influence, more success, then you have to first expand that inner vision you have of yourself. You're the person that holds those things, the person that has those things. You can't just want those things and not really believe that you can have them. You have to believe it, right? Believe. Jamel always likes to say, believe in the unseen. You have to believe it first before you can actually have that. Lou.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, gentlemen. Uh, yeah, Paul, so I'm glad as we probably bring up almost every chapter, is about the self image. And this is what Waddles is saying here, and what Paul referred to. Our self image is a program, it's been recorded through through the decades. It's been gathering information, and that's what mindset is. It's set. Our self image is set. It knows how we walk, how we talk, how we think, how we behave. There's nothing you have to do. The program already has created you. The issue is, for the majority of that self image and that program, you didn't have much say in it. So, this is why what we're trying to help people understand, and I still go through self image and identity work. So, this is what we're trying to lay, is to be able to take action, not from the busy, desperate mind that has to get things done over and over, where your current self-image is at now. It believes you have to hustle and grind and work hard and do more, do everything for everybody. What this is saying is, step into the version of you that take the efficient version of you that takes efficient action. It's not about doing more, but it's about doing what it is that you're doing that truly matters, and setting aside time. I call it focused sprints. So take focused sprints, and I think I talked about it either last week or the week before, about being in the spirit. When I talked about a football game, I used that example. And if you go just as a spectator, yeah, you're watching it, you're clapping, you're rooting. But the people that paint their bodies, they get the shaved head, they have their bodies are painted, and it's 10 degrees out. They're in the spirit of the action that they're taking. No, I'm not recommending that we all shave our heads and paint our bodies and stand outside in 10-degree weather. But what I am, and what Wallace is saying, is to be in that spirit of the person that is taking efficient action and not busy work. Busy work comes from fear of not doing enough. It comes from fear of missing out. It comes from fear of falling behind. And that's when we're always scrambling. And that's where burnout happens, right? So a person that thinks and behaves and takes efficient action, they don't rush, right? They're not scrambling, and they don't have to do everything. It's just that they focus on the things that they're doing with full focused attention. That means shutting your phone off or silencing your phone. Maybe that means putting a sign up on your office door. Maybe that means letting everybody know this is my focus time, my focus sprints time. And it's also letting your mind know, oh, this is the time where we take efficient action, where we're fully present instead of just the doing and doing. And like Jamel said, he's a doer. And I can fall into that category at times. So I have to remind myself because it's been habitual. I've been doing that for decades. It was part of the old Lou. And this is what I'm saying about this, like what Paul was mentioning about the self-image. I want to call it the newer Lou, but really what it is the truer Lou. The one that knows I don't have to hustle and grind. I don't have to burn myself out. I don't have to do what everything on social media is telling me to do. I get to do what feels right, what I believe will move me forward in my personal and professional life, but I get to make those decisions. And I must have enough respect for myself and for what it is that I'm trying to achieve, the goal, to be able to shut out the noise and get down to business. Jamel.
I love it. I love it. And we're getting down to business right now. This is the business of developing yourself, getting down to business and, mind your own business. Right. So that's what we mean. Don't worry about what other people are doing or whatever. This is you creating yourself.
Mhm.
And I love what you're both sharing here and how you're applying, like interpreting this, and he says here, the world is advanced only by those who more than fill their present places. So now think about that. He goes more in depth there. He says, if no man or woman filled their present place, you can see that there must be a going backward in everything.
Mm.
Who wants to go backwards? Right? So that basically is whether we're creating or we're disintegrating. If you're going backwards in life or you're even sitting still, sitting still is going backwards. You're not creating, you're not advancing. And that's something to really think about. He says, there never would have been new species had there not been organisms which more than filled their places. Really? What? Like I said, I love nature. And I know there's new species people really don't talk about if you're not into nature and stuff. But there's new species we never had on this planet because they advanced themselves. They even created, gills or whatever, certain organs to be more out of the environment they've evolved from. And you can go down the rabbit hole of, the whole theory with apes and turning to humans and, basically what were we, amoebas coming from the ocean to what we are now. You can go down that, rabbit hole if you're really into it. But the point is, they advanced, they became, and you can never outgrow where you are. This is what, Paul just said. You can never become more or achieve more or get rich if you're going backwards. This is why we get so passionate about what we're sharing here. And he says, the law is exactly the same for you. It's not just applies to animals. We're creators put here to create what we want every day. And a lot of us create unconsciously. You don't know that you don't know. And you're very powerful. You can create whatever you want. So this law is exactly the same for you. And you're getting rich depends upon your applying this principle to your own affairs. So you want to outgrow your present space. And he goes into detail how to do that. But we also shared a lot of powerful content prior to this. So now this is the effective action to tie in all the thinking and the focus that we've been talking about. So now it's another step to actually become, because you can't be anything without the action. I mean, you can wish and hope for it, but if you're not being it, there's no connection to the physical plane. And that's kind of what he's talking about with the organisms and stuff like that. I know they're not visualizing, I'm visualizing wings like a tadpole is flying, right? We don't know that, right? We don't know if a tadpole wants to fly. But the point is, you have these abilities. That's what the desire is, right? You know, whatever that desire is for you, whatever money it is, that's your wings that you desire to grow, so to speak. So yeah, I wanted to share those good tips there he had in that chapter.
Those are awesome points, Jamel, and it's really worth reading that over and over again, like Bob always suggests, like to really grasp and understand what the author is saying, what he means, right? Because I don't know how often I've read this, and even reading it this week, there's some new aha moments, like wow, like it really, because how can I do that? Bob Proctor, so our mentor, he often said, your results cannot exceed your self-image. Right. So it's one thing to wish for things. It's one thing to have to think positively. But we talked about this before. If your actions aren't in harmony with your positive thinking, then that positive thinking, you're gonna fall short. And people get angry and upset. Positive thinking doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's not in alignment. You have to believe that. You have to have the faith. You have your vision, and you have to hold on to that vision, that image. Regardless of what's happening to you in the outside world, not to be influenced by the outside world. Like so many people, like I said at the beginning of this program, so many people operate from the outside in, letting their thoughts and what they think and how they feel, that's determined by what's happening in their outside world. But being bigger than your present place simply means grow internally to the place that you want to be externally. And you do that by, your present work. You have to do your present work in a bigger, more excellent, more effective way. Whatever it is, the only time you have is right now. So do it efficiently, do it your best, give it, show up, be present. You can't do tomorrow's work today. And Waddles goes on to say that in this chapter, but do whatever it is you have to do and do it, your best. Treat that current position as something that's really sacred. That's the only moment you have. Bring more life, more excellence, more energy than the job actually requires. And put, infuse every action with the impression of increase. And when you do that, then you will become more noticeable. You'll become indispensable. You will become promotable, expandable. You outgrow your present place by overfilling it with value. And that's what attracts more opportunities. That's what, when you become too big for your present place, you will naturally be moved into a larger one. And that doesn't come through luck or competition or forcing or politics or anything like that. It's by law. As Jamel said, it happens by law, and that law applies to everything. Growth automatically creates advancement. Lou.
Very, very good. Um, yeah, so Paul, you actually, like when Waddle says you are not to try to do tomorrow's work today, nor to do a week's work in a day. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. Every act is in itself either a success or failure, right? And he goes on to say, on the other hand, every efficient act is a success in itself. And if every act of your life is an efficient one, your whole life must be a success. If we're constantly doing or setting time aside for focused attention and intentions, if we are setting time aside daily, you will notice how much more time you free up.
Mm.
You'll have more time. You'll have more time to be creative. You'll have more time to spend with your family. You'll have more time to enjoy life. It's not always about doing, doing, doing. Efficient action really requires mental discipline. And this is so thinking is the highest function we're capable of. It's also the most challenging. So efficient action does require mental discipline. We must refuse distraction. We must be able to set quiet time aside. Do those focus sprints. Set up times. They can be 30-minute sprints. They can be 15-minute sprints. They can be an hour long. But be mindful because you don't want to lose the momentum. So whatever action that you have and what we do and what we recommend our clients do is write down the night before. And let's just say this is referring to your business. Do 6 income producing actions and prioritize them. And one of my favorite things is I know it's in Lead the Field, and I believe it comes out of Think and Grow Rich, is the story about Ivy Lee, right? This is one of my favorite stories. And he was a PR consultant. This is back, I think, in 1918, 1920. And he approached Charles Schwab at that time, who was a steel magnate. He was the president of Bethlehem Steel. And he approached him to have him be more efficient, have his employees be more efficient and more productive with their time and their actions in order to see higher profits. So what he had Charles Schwab do is to write down the 6 most important things that he or his company needed to do the next day and prioritize them. And he said, do number 1 first. Whatever the most important thing you need to do that. Do not go on to number 2 until number 1 is completed. And sometimes number 1, it may not get done that day, depending on what it is. It could take whatever, a day, 2 days, a week, whatever it may be. But what you have done is you have realized what is the most important thing that needs to get done. So once you complete number 1, you go on to number 2, so forth and so on. And then Charles Schwab said, well, how much do I need to pay you? He says, first do this, and then you can pay me whatever you believe this idea is worth. Well, he goes back, whatever, a month later, and he talks to him and he said, that was the best concept in being efficient and productive that I have ever come across. And he gave Ivy Lee a check for $25,000, which in today's value was about, I don't know, $550,000. But the point is, none of us will ever, if we cannot prioritize our actions for the day and do it in that order, there is no other system that can replace that. It is so simple and so effective, and yet we we just like to overcomplicate things. When we get overcomplicate things, we get confused. When we get confused, we shut down, we procrastinate, we make excuses. So I think that suggestion is probably the most powerful suggestion that I give my clients as far as taking action. And then you realize everything that you thought was so important that you needed to get done that day just kind of fades. You realize they really were not important, but in my head they were. But once you can start getting into the habit of doing this, you will see amazing changes, not only in your professional life, but in your personal life, because you have addressed the 6 most important things, and then you have time for family, for whatever it is that you want to do. Jamel?
That's so good. I'm so glad you shared that story too, because it's changed my life. It really has. Because just to do action or take action, it's inefficient, right? This is exactly what he's talking about. And he says it in a different way, but it's just taking action, being in harmony with that vision of whatever it is that you desire. If it's, a money goal or a business goal, getting involved on that same frequency. And that is so key. And that's why we're here to help you, not just to talk about it, but to be about it, right? That's basically what he's talking about, is to become. And I know everybody can relate to this, because this is a big part why things don't happen. I remember Bob Proctor sharing in multiple places. There's a lot of people that work very hard their whole lives, and they don't end up with what they desire, or get rewarded with the money that they feel they deserve because they work so hard. And this is exactly what they're talking about. I mean, this is a solution, just worded in a very unique way in this book. So he says, the world is advanced only by those who more than fill their present places. So I mentioned that, right? So let me find this part that I really wanted to share here. The world is advanced only by those who more than fill their places, right? And he goes on to say, every act is in itself either a success or a failure, and every act is in itself either effective or inefficient. So I love how this was broken down here, because you can just chop it down to each act, each day. This is so important, because when you're not present, you're not aware of what's inefficient or efficient. So he goes on, every act is in itself either a success or a failure. Every act is in itself either effective or inefficient. So there's 2 different ways to say the same thing, right? So, and then he goes on to say here, every inefficient act is a failure. And if you spend your life in doing inefficient acts, your whole life will be a failure. That's pretty harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's basically saying the failure is you not achieving the goal. We're not saying you are a failure. He's not saying you are a failure. So if you're continuously doing inefficient acts your entire life, what do you think is going to happen? The result will be the same. So all the acts add up to the result, just to put it very plainly and clearly there. And I know in Lead to Feel with Earl Nightingale, he talks about this, and Lou brushed on it. There's a section where he talks about take every day one at a time. And he was talking about building mansions or castles. He said every day is a brick in that castle or that mansion. So this is the same thing. Every act is a brick in whatever it is that you're building. And you want to have that good foundation. This is why habits come in, right? Do you have a habit of, I don't know, drinking all the time and not being efficient, or waking up late or staying up late? Do you have a habit of, not following through with things will help move you forward, especially when you don't feel like doing a certain thing? So it really, really talks about inefficiency and efficiency, the difference. And then he goes on to say here, this is good, the more things you do, the worse for you if all of your acts are inefficient ones. On the other hand, this is important, every efficient act is a success in itself. And if every act of your life is an efficient one, your whole life must be a success. Wow. It must be a success. So this is the law of polarity. There's opposites, right? So, and then he goes on to say, what is efficient? What is inefficient? But you want to do efficient acts every day of your life, because especially if you want a better future, you want to make each task efficient. And this was the clarity that I was seeking probably the majority of my life, because I would do these acts, but they were inefficient based on what he's sharing here, because I didn't have the direction that I have now, and it's basically what we're all sharing here. So yeah, reach out to us for this guidance, because it's difficult to do it on your own. It's very challenging, or it'll take you many, many more years.
Yeah, Jamel, I love that you brought that up. That's such a almost scary statement when I read that. Every inefficient act is a failure, and if you spend your life in doing inefficient acts, then your life will be a failure. And as you said, you're not a failure, but your acts are a failure. But conversely, it's really uplifting when then you go on, with every efficient act is a success in itself, and every act in your life, if every act in your life is an efficient one, then your whole life will be a success. And that really, when I think about that during the day, and the day maybe is tough, or the day's not going as I planned, or I'm doing things that I don't really want to do, but if you say, okay, I'm just going to do it my best, I'm going to give this my best, regardless of what the task is, I'm going to do it, to the best of my ability. That's how you move forward, right? And efficiency, it's not about volume. And I think Lou said this earlier, it's about completeness. It's not about how much doing things and being busy, but it's just about being, finish today's tasks fully, completely, efficiently. And, not dragging yesterday's work into today, or worrying about tomorrow. And so being bigger means being a person of increase. So to be bigger than your present place means you consistently offer more value, service, excellence, your presence, your leadership. And you do that in every act that you do. And those around you, the people around you, they're going to feel that. They're going to see that. And because life always responds to increase, right? Life always responds, because life is always seeking increase. Then life will open bigger doors for you. You can't stay in the same place and expect your circumstances to expand, right? You have to expand first. You have to, from the inside out, like a seed grows and bursts through the soil. It just, because it expands, it's expanding from the inside out. You don't get a better life and then grow into it. People are waiting for a better life. No, you grow, then you get a better life. Like, your new results require a new version of you. You have to be that person that you want to become. You have to start being that now. And that's being bigger. That's being bigger than your present place. So the author Waddle says here that once your thought is aligned and your vision is clear, then you have to take the action efficiently, not like, frantically or forcefully, but with purpose and with intelligence. So it's not about doing many things, but doing each thing as it comes along in a successful, increased producing way.
Yay. Clap, clap, clap. um, Very good. So I wanted to read here. Evolution is guided by the law of physical and mental evolution. Let's remember, we are dealing with an intelligence, and everything works by law. Not because Lou, Paul, and Jamel say so, not because Wallace Waddles says so. It's all happening by law. We are always moving forward. We're not going back to horse-drawn carriages, right? Or wearing, what do they call it? Animal skins for clothing, right? And walking around with clubs. Evolution is always moving forward. Life is always increasing and expanding. I love this line. You can make each act a success because all power is working with you, and all power cannot fail. Power is at your service, and to make each act efficient, you have only to put the power into it. We've been talking about this formless substance. This is what we're talking about, this thinking stuff. So let's use it to our benefit. Let's use it so we can increase our life. When you know who you are, where you are going, your steps become more obvious, right? There's no second guessing. You're not spinning around, and your energy is consolidated so your results can accelerate. And we always are talking about goals because I think that's the first thing. What do you want, right? And sometimes people are like, well, I want this and I want that. That is inefficient. So spreading your energy across multiple different goals will dilute your momentum. It will dilute your energy. But if you focus on just one, and this is what Bob talks about, maybe two, but I really prefer to get one plate spinning in the air. Then when you choose that one goal, then you're aligning your daily behavior towards that becomes easier. When your energy is split in different ways, I talked about having your foot on first base and second base, you get stuck, you procrastinate. And again, when you know where you're going, when you know who you are, and when you know where you're going, the action steps become much more clearer and obvious. Jamel?
Oh God, where is it? Wow. Both of you. Wow, this is so powerful. This is so powerful. This is golden.
That's golden.
This is resonating with you. Contact one of us today. Just send us a message because this is so important, especially when you desire a better life and more out of life. I'm just, it's amazing revisiting this book
Yeah.
because, I'm at a different awareness, right? We're different versions of ourselves. And to reread this, I'm like, wow, I had this sitting on my table for so long. And I went through this other thing, another thing, and you come back and you see more. You know what it is? You see more in yourself,
Mhm.
And I love how, you both are expressing this. So Wallace says, and this is the piggyback on what Lewis sharing, and also Paul, he says, the cause of failure is doing too many things in an inefficient manner and not doing enough things in an efficient manner, right? That's the cause of failure for most people. You're doing way too many different things. Oh, I'm busy. My day's full. It's just activity, right? You're not doing it efficiently. And he goes on to say, you will see that it is a self-evident proposition that if you do not do any inefficient acts, and if you do a sufficient number of efficient acts, you will become rich. So if now it is possible for you to make each act an efficient one, you see again that the getting of riches is reduced to an exact science, like mathematics. I love how he breaks it down there. It's mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
All it is it's almost similar to law of averages. If you do a certain number of things, you can see anyway. But it's broken down. It's a science. So you want efficient acts, successful acts. And he goes on here. Every action is either strong or weak. Every action is either strong or weak. And it's weak when you don't have this. And when everyone is strong, you are acting in the what? The certain way. So these are strong acts, efficient acts when you're acting in a certain way. And he revisits what that is, which will make you rich. So he continues and explains here, every act can be made strong and efficient by holding what? Your vision while you are doing it. That was a golden part there. And he says it once in this chapter. But we watched last weekend because we went in great detail about what the certain way is. So you're holding this vision while doing this act, right? And putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. And what is faith? Faith, you gain faith by, well, for one, choosing something you can't see, but believing that it is forming for you, that it's coming to you, and your purpose into it. So what is your purpose? Your purpose is what drives you. So he says right there, basically what is a strong action, an efficient action? And that is holding your vision while you're doing it. And, the next part he continues, but I'll stop there because that was such a big moment in this chapter because, he's talking about, inefficient, efficient, strong, weak, and then he breaks down, do that every day, take efficient acts. But now he's tying in what the certain way is and what will define efficient for you. And without a vision, you're just closing your eyes. You have your hands over your eyes, or you can't see. You can't see where you're going and what you're creating, who you're becoming. And that was such a key moment in this chapter for me, because I was like, okay, I got it. Effective, strong. So what does that mean? Oh, the vision. And other teachers explain it in different ways. I know Neville, he talks about your concept of yourself and how everything's consciousness. And it's the same way. They're saying the same thing in just two different ways. That vision, you're becoming. And you can't become something if you can't see it. All right. So you have to have a vision. That's why desire, you have to have a want. So, but yeah, big moment there in the chapter.
That's it. That's a great moment. And that reminds me of last week in our conversation that we had last week, Jamel. And this event that I had gone to, and I mentioned it, Dr. Jean Augustine, who became the first Canadian, Black Canadian woman to become a member of Parliament. And, the documentary was called Steadfast. So what does that mean? Steadfast thinking. So Dr. Jean had steadfast thinking. What does that mean? She held on to that vision that Jamel just talked about. She had a vision. She had an image, and she was guided by her vision. You have to be guided by your vision, and you have to hold that image in your mind, regardless of what's happening, all the noise that's going on, all the outside things that are happening, and not to be reactive to those things, but to be guided by the thing that you see. And every action you take, it's in alignment with your vision. And you do all those actions in the most efficient way you can. And, there is a successful way of performing your actions. And it's not about perfection. It's not about perfection. It's about being present, being there, not being somewhere else, not doing something here, but your mind is somewhere else. So then you're not doing it to the best of your ability. Your intention, your excellence, right? Add more excellence. You can always be done better. Why? If you're doing something, why not do it to your best? It's a reflection of you. Gratitude and purpose. Every small act that you do, every email or text, every conversation, call, gesture that you make, it becomes a seed. It becomes a seed, and a successful mindset applied to all those small things multiplies. And I think Jamel said that multiplies into major results. And you can't act efficiently if you're worrying and you're doubting and you're rushing and you're competing and you're fearing failure. You have to have faith in your vision. You have to hold on to that image and have faith. You can have faith or fear. You don't see either one of them, but they both demand that you believe in something that you can't see. So why is fear the default? So you have to have, certainty in your outcome. You have to have gratitude while things are unfolding. Have gratitude for that. And so what you believe while you're acting, that's going to determine the impact of your action.
Thank you, Paul and Jamel. I wanted to share something. So I have a partner, and we have what we call a GSD call. Get stuff done. Okay, get stuff done. And what we do is we hold the space for one another. And this may be something that maybe you can find somebody to do this with. And we hop on a Zoom at a certain time, and we start off the call with what I call a GSD prayer. And what that prayer does, it sets us up emotionally for the actions that we are about to do. And because a thought is just a seed, but it's the emotions that water the seed. So this is what we're saying by taking efficient action. It's not just doing it, but to be emotionally connected, be mindful, be present to what it is that you are doing. So when we hop on our call, we say this GSD prayer. Each one of us takes turns sharing, reading different parts of it. And then we just mute ourselves. We're still on camera, but we mute ourselves. And what that does is we hold the space. I know she's doing action steps, whatever they may be, and vice versa. And that is so helpful. And sometimes we're on for an hour, sometimes we're on for 2 hours, or maybe even a little longer. And when we are finished, we feel like complete because we did what we said we were going to do. And that is one of the things, also is the difference between efficient decision making and inefficient decision making. So efficient decision making, make one decision once. Make a decision once. And you feel the weight just melt away. But if you're trying to make a decision, keep going back to it, revisiting it over and over and over, what you're doing is you are draining your mental energy. You're exhausting yourself from trying to make a decision. So if you want to be efficient in decision making, just make the decision once and get to it. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is results, whether it's results in every moment, every conversation, every circumstance, every condition, we are always given the opportunity to see who we are and who we want to be. That's what every result is really for. Every event, every circumstance, every struggle, every challenge, every failure. It's always giving us the opportunity to make a decision, to choose, who do I want to be? How do I want to respond to this? Is that me? Is that the old me, or is that the truer me that wants to show up differently? To not to react, but to respond. Not to criticize, but to understand. Not to judge, but to be curious. So we always, 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 everything is thrown back in our lap, so to speak. Here, this is what's happening. What do you want to do with it? This is what's happening. What do you want to do with it, right? Who do you want to be? Who's the person that's going to be taking the next step and responding? So this is all part, this is what Waddles is really trying to convey to us. Have this power that is working to and through us. So let's use this power in an efficient, effective way.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. I love when you do that. Oh, wow. So funny.
That's my sound effect. Oh, wow. I should record that. Put it in here. Wow. Lou and Paul, really expressed here, the word at steps. I said it. What's your next step with this knowledge and this awareness and this awakening, right? And contact us for your next step, because don't let this just be knowledge, right? And you have to really be open and honest with yourself. You desire more life. It's an inherent in all things. And this is a very natural thing. Don't feel bad for wanting what you desire, for wanting more, a better lifestyle, more time, a fancier car. That's the expression that wants to become. And who cares what people think or all your mental limiting conditions? There's so much garbage we've been programmed. Spirit wants you to have more life. And that's actually, it's so crazy. Listen to this. Lesson 11 in Thinking into Results. They have Wallace Waddles right there and there, because we were covering this lesson with my clients. The desire for increase is inherent in all nature. That includes you, right? It is the fundamental impulse of the universe. All human activities are based on the desire for increase, right? People are always seeking more food. Who doesn't like food, right? I love food. We had, we celebrated my daughter's birthday. Yeah. So we had great food, more clothes. I'm not, into like name brand stuff, but I like nice stuff, right? Some fancy, I've been up in my Thai game, right? So better shelter, right? Maybe you want to buy a house or a nice condo or even vacation house or whatever. More luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, right? That's what we're sharing. More pleasure, more life. All human activities are based on that. So every living thing is under the necessity for continuous advancement. That's what brought you here today, even on a subconscious level. Not just consciously, subconsciously, your spirit brought you here to see this and to hear it. So where increase of life ceases, dissolution and death set in at once. People instinctively know this, and hence they are forever seeking more. I don't know what chapter that is from, but this is exactly what we're talking about. So now we're talking about tying in these efficient acts and what the certain way is, right? And he said, this is so good. Look at spirit. It goes right to my point here that I was going to mention. It says, it is at this point that people fail who separate mental power from personal action. They use the power of mind in one place and at one time, and they act in another place and at another time. So their acts are not successful in themselves. So too many of them are inefficient. But if all power goes into every act, no matter how commonplace, every act will be a success in itself. And as in the nature of things, every success opens the way to other successes. So your progress toward what you want and the progress of what you want toward you will become increasingly rapid. So to kind of sum that up, what he's sharing there, you want to be, he says, you use the power of your mind in one place. So you'll have a vision. You'll be sitting down, maybe, I don't know, reading a book, and the vision comes to you. Or you're just sitting there looking out the window and you have a vision of where you want to go in your life. And then when you go take an action towards that goal, you lost the vision. And we're human. You know, I've done that multiple times. So that's what he's talking about. That is huge, what he's sharing there. And just kind of tie in a few things. I took so many notes. Sorry, guys, of this chapter. He says, when a man begins to move toward larger life, more things attach themselves to him. And the influence of his desire is multiplied. That's a huge takeaway there. So when you start taking action, when you make a decision, what Lou is sharing, what Paul is sharing, things start moving towards you. It doesn't just happen, you wishing and hoping and visualizing. But when you start taking efficient action with that goal, the universe must respond. And he says, in saying that you must hold your vision while you're doing each act, however trivial or commonplace, I do not mean to say that it is necessary at all times to see the vision distinctively to its smallest details. It should be the work of your leisure hours to use your imagination on the details of your vision and to contemplate them until they are firmly fixed upon your memory. So in your leisure hours, you can visualize the vision of where you're going and what you desire. And he says, if you wish speedily results, spend practically all of your spare time. Time is our most valuable asset. And this is like really talking about where are you putting your energy. So the more you're getting clear on that vision, the more you can bring it into the efficient acts and the strong actions that you'll be taking. And he says, by continuous contemplation, I don't know where that is. There it is. By continuous contemplation, you will get the picture of what you want, even to the smallest details, so firmly fixed upon your mind. That's your subconscious mind. And so completely transferred to the mind of the formless substance that in your working hours, you need only to mentally refer to the picture to stimulate your faith and purpose and cause your best effort to be put forth. Wow. Contemplate your picture in your leisure hours until your consciousness is so full of it that you can grasp it instantly. You will become so enthused with its bright promises that the mere thought of it will call forth the strongest energies of your whole being. I had to get that part before because I knew there was something in here that that sums it up so well. That's the magic of it, right? Yeah. Getting so clear in a vision that you don't have to try anymore. You know that it's there. In your leisure hours, build that goal, what you really want. Get clarity. See the money in your account. See the people you're going to impact. See the business you want. See the lifestyle you want. And get very clear on it. The goal, we're talking about getting rich, the science of getting rich. Money, see, with money, you're able to get all these other things, right? That's money is, you can measure it down to the penny. So if you see yourself attracting extra 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, maybe even 5,000 or $500 a month, those other things that you desire that cost money is a part of that. So this is why it's so powerful. We're talking about money because it falls under all those other goals that you desire can fall under right that amount or whatever you want. And you know what? And You Were Born Rich, we even talked about that. Bob talked about the life you want. How much does it cost, the life you want, right? I forgot what chapter it was, but he was like, what are the things you want? Guess what I'm doing? I'm incorporating monthly massages, monthly massages. I never done that in my life. And I did a post and Paul, showed some love there. And that's part of my higher version of myself. I'm tracking the money that I know that I need to pay the fancy massage place to get this physical treat done, So money is a part of that, right? So seeing what you want to attract is essential, and having continuous contemplation is so important. And I'll get off my bandstand here and let someone else share. But I know I shared a lot there. So
That was great. Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, no, that was good, Jamel. That was a good summation. I wrote a couple notes down here, which I'll just like to add, as I know that we're ending our session here. But I wrote down this last night. It was chaos in thought produces chaos in action, and order in thought produces ordered results. So efficient action is what transforms your vision from that mental picture into a physical reality. Lou.
That's so funny you should use that word. I was just writing down. So you can be in chaos, but you don't have to be chaotic. Just remember that. But I must end this because Jamel, you read it last week, and I feel the calling to read it this week.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you to read it.
Yeah. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants and do with faith and purpose all that can be done each day by doing each separate thing in an efficient manner. Boom. Love that.
Wow. Love that. Excellent. I love it. We'll take a strong, efficient action by contacting one of us today to apply this material and to help you with that vision. Because sometimes when we don't have a vision, we're not using our imagination beyond our current circumstance. So this was so good. And looking forward to, meeting you. We're all here to help with open arms and open heart. And why not grow in the company of people that are growing? Really drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, I'm going to do my best in this lifetime and create something very special. So,
Make a decision once.
What was that, Lou?
Make a decision once.
All right. Make a decision.
And happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the States that'll be celebrating this Thursday.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you like our background, to celebrate the festive activities. Anybody have anything coming up for next month or anything coming up you want to share?
I'm booked with meetups, so I've been doing more physical things.
I don't have anything near future, but definitely a lot of stuff happening in the new year. I'll keep you posted on that.
Ooh.
And happy Thanksgiving to my American friends.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm doing an online event. It's called It's My Year, It's My Life. So I'll be doing it's a free online event carrying you into what year is it? 2026. So it'll be very powerful, and I'm excited about that as well. And I have a couple collaborative things as well online where I'll be speaking. So in that as well. I guess I can announce it. See, I've been taking so much action. I forgot. I'll be speaking on the Be Awesome Network about choosing the right type of goals with Lori. Hi, Lori, if you see this. I'll be doing that for her Winter Circle as well. So I have some awesome material to share that I'm really excited about. Yeah. So this has been great.
Okay.
Be abundant. Bye, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.